Are you an assertive person or someone who sets goals religiously in order to hold yourself accountable? Well, if you fall into this category, then you'll join 7 out of 10 Americans, according to Gallup, who were poised to set goals for themselves at the beginning of the year, with 1/3 of respondents telling Gallup they're more likely to do so, and 38% somewhat committed to the measure. Shannon Rhodes, more commonly known as Momma Rhodes, is a lifelong Texan who believes in helping people reach their maximum level of personal and professional potential. She's a life coach who, through trial and error, developed a program which assists people in discovering their true passion, purpose, and maximizing their potential. The program which Rhodes offers is tailored to each individual person because she believes that everyone has a unique presence and purpose to share with the world. She's firstly committed to the notion that everyone matters and has a story to share, and the diversity of perspective is what is our strength in the world. If you want to end your week and kick off your weekend on a high note, I strongly suggest you stick around for this energetic, thought-provoking, and enthusiastic conversation I had with Rhodes. So, without further delay, I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Shannon, if you're ready, I'll take a moment to
Okay.
welcome you to the program, and I'm super excited to learn about your work in professional development and in the career space. Great to be with you this afternoon, and happy Friday!
Happy Friday.
Absolutely. So, Shannon, I wanted to start by asking you about how you think people can take control of their own personal development journey. Because I always tell people we make time for the things we prioritize in life. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on how you think people can take personal ownership over their personal development.
Well, I think one of the first things that you have to do is basically um, create quiet space. That means removing yourself probably from outside influences as much as possible, to give you time to figure out who you are without outside influence coming in. I call that the moment of getting to know who you are and what you want to do. Then you follow that by, then when you have some kind of semblance of what you want to do, then you can go out and get people who can help you attain that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also say that you know what it's like to have a hunger inside, but you're not sure on what steps to take in order to fulfill your journey. So tell me about taking advantage of your hunger and the steps that you need to fulfill that sort of promise to yourself.
So I'll start with my own personal experience, and that's what I share with others. Um, I just felt so unfulfilled. And what I mean by that is the fact that you have this job, you making good money, but there's something inside of you that's saying, I'm just not happy. Everybody is saying I should be happy, but I'm just not happy. So one moment I came up and I just said, and it's probably around my age because I'm over 50, so it happened around my 50th birthday, that I said, you know what, Shannon, what is it that you really want to do? And I said, what I do, because as a manager, you mentor people. So then I said, I just want to mentor people all the time, but on my terms and my development. Um, so I just pushed myself out there. I just closed my eyes and I just leaped and jumped and said, okay, this is what you're going to do.
Yeah, it's important to follow your passions. As Shannon and I always tell people, the moment you find your passion, you don't work a day in your life, right?
Right, right. And that's how I feel. I don't feel as though this is work. Like talking to you, Kevin, I don't feel like this is work. This is something I enjoy. I love
Uh,
meeting people.
yeah, absolutely. Engaging in conversation is so much fun, isn't it?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah, Shannon, I know that you also have some background in inclusive employment, and something you may not know is that we're coming to the end of National Disability Awareness Month. And as you know, I was born with cerebral palsy, and it's important to me to amplify the voices of the disabled community and the workspace. So tell me, how do you think we can better infuse individuals with disabilities into the workforce? And when you think of inclusion at work, what do you think of?
Well, I think that if we had individuals with disabilities, and maybe if you all are present in the workforce, in the schools, like take them out of the individual class, well, the isolated classrooms, and put them in regular classrooms if they can. Uh, that will teach the people who are not disabled how to interact, because I didn't know what it felt like coming out of school to interact with individuals with disabilities. So I met my first person who was a disabled individual who diminished the preconceived notions that are out there. This person probably was one of the hardest working millennials that I have ever seen before, uh, and gave such great passion. And uh, as far as the small limitation that the person had, they were just as great and ordinary as we are. And to be honest with you, I think we all walk on around here with disabilities. It's just not maybe as severe, but I think all of us have disabilities that we can share and overcome.
Well, Shannon, there's strength and diversity of perspective, isn't there?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And Shannon, I know that you strongly believe that we all should have a pathway to pursue our own passion and purpose in life, and that's how we discover our own individuality. So tell me about discovering or finding your purpose and passion, and how important it is to you to help people to do that.
Well, as you stated, every person has an individualized gift. Not all of them are the same. So, what I do is it's not a cookie cutter program. Um, what I do is basically sit down, get to know you. We have a conversation, uh, and actually listen, because I think that's a lot of things we don't do is listen to what the person is saying. So as I listen, then you telling me your goals and what you want to pursue, and then I'm able to sit and then help pull that out of you. So basically, you want to drive your ship because you are the captain of your ship. Only thing you need is probably a co-captain. I don't want to be the captain of your destiny. I just want to help you get there so you can feel accomplished and fulfilled on that.
And Shannon, they tell me that you're better known as Momma Rhodes. So tell me, how did you get that nickname, and what does that mean to you?
Okay, so in the South, once you have children, you're labeled by Mr. or Mrs. So when my girls went off to college, a lot of the young ladies would say, as I gave them advice, they would refer to me saying, "Oh, you just sound just like my mom," who wasn't there at the time, but I was there. So they started calling me Momma Rhodes instead of Mrs. Rhodes. So I took that personally. I was like, these young ladies or these individuals, because sometimes they were young men as well, would look at me and say, "Oh, you're like my mom." So I took that to heart. So, and pride. So whenever I give advice, I tend to want to say and feed into you positivity and love, and give you the best advice possible as if you are my child.
Yeah, it makes a difference to build social community and social capital when you raise kids, doesn't
Mm-hmm.
it?
Yes, exactly. I'm like
Absolutely.
the mama, and now I'm just out there, just wanting to be that mama's voice that maybe you need in your life right now.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah, absolutely. And Shannon, you brought up that we're having this conversation deep in the heart of Texas this afternoon. So, and I know that Southern hospitality is important to you. So, tell me, what are the principles of good Southern hospitality in your view?
Well, one of the things that we are pride ourselves, especially Texans, because we Texans, we think we even higher than the people of the South, jokingly. Um, we have a sense of community. Um, that being is a sense of responsibility, kind of like that's where Momma Rhodes came from. I feel as though my Southern roots have made me want to take others who might not be as fortunate enough to have like a mom in their life due to other things that has transpired in their lives, to pour into them as needed. And also my faith is a big part of that. Faith and love is what I've learned to be in the South as a Southerner.
Yeah, absolutely. When you lead from a place of love, everything else takes care of itself, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Absolutely. And, I'm also curious to talk to you about your experience in management and training because, certainly in today's society, a 4 year college degree isn't for everyone. So I'm curious to ask you about the importance of diversity of experience from a management perspective when we're looking to hire people because, a lot of people have a lot of skill sets to bring to the table. So talk to me, if you would, about educational and employment diversification and how you view that.
One of the things that I look for as a manager, because I always say a manager is another word for mentor. If you're not doing the same, then you're not a good manager. An effective manager will look at the team and see what the team needs. And each individual on that team brings something to the table. And it's the manager's job to look at each individual and say, this person's good in this area. Say this person's good at speaking. So any speaking thing that event that occurs where I need a speaker present to speak on behalf of maybe the department, I'm going to bring that person in to help develop that person's skill and help them to move up into wherever their goals are. Because not everybody wants to be a manager, like you said. Not everybody wants to go and get a college degree. And sometimes I don't even think a college degree is what management is. One of the things that people need to know is management is people skills. You got to understand people, and you got to love people, and you got to want to pour into people if you want to be an effective manager. And if you want your company, and if you're the owner of the company, you would like your company to grow. So that means you got to have the right managers in who nurture your people.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Shannon, I'm also curious to ask you about your life motto and whether you have sayings or a motto that you live by.
One of the mottos that I live by is do unto others. I know it's cliche, but I really live by that. Do unto others as you want them to be done to you. And then if I could say, Kevin, one more. It was a man
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
that told me this, and this is one thing I live by. Learned this early in my career. You're not promotable unless, hold on, I'm butchering this. You're not promotable unless, why did I just go blank?
Take your time.
I wrote it down here. Give me a minute. I
Take,
just went blank. And it's the one thing I always say. You're not promotable unless you're replaceable. So you got to have that mentality. You're training others so they can replace you so you can be promoted. That's one thing I live by.
yeah,
Pour into others.
because if one of the things I always tell people is that life is about paying it forward, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. And you get so much enjoyment out of it because you're moving up, don't even know you're moving up. You just moving up the ladder, or you're just moving up in your career because you pouring into others.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shannon, as you know, that today's the last day of March, so that means it's the last day of Women's History Month. So tell me about the importance of celebrating the contributions of women and the importance you place on celebrating Women's History Month and what it means to you.
Women's History Month means a lot because I guess I was part of this, some of the transitions that occurred for women's rights. I can remember specifically when my mom celebrated in the 70s getting her own credit card. That was a big deal to her because women didn't get that right until 1974. So that's in my lifetime that a woman could not have her own credit card. So my mom lived and that was a special moment for me. So think about how far we've come from a woman having credit to having a job to owning property, CEOs. We've come a long way, and I am just so proud. And may we continue on breaking these barriers, because when we come together as any group of people come together, like you said, when we are grouped together, we can make a difference.
It takes a village to raise a child, and it also
Yes.
takes a village to raise a society these days, doesn't it?
Yes. Cannot do it alone. Like I always give the thing about the fist, even though these individual fingers do it, each has an individual job, they're not as powerful individually as they are together.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Shannon, I'm curious to ask you, what do you think it means to maximize potential in life and live your best life? What do you think that means to you?
What I think it means is if you live in your life the majority of the time, because it's not going to be every day. If you live in your life with three things: joy, love, and happiness, And if those three things are constant in your life, then you're living your best life. That's the life that I think everybody wants to live.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of your life work, of course, is developing a program that allows people to recognize their purpose and reach their fullest potential. So tell me about all the important work that you do to help people maximize the best version of themselves.
Well, I think I have a gift or a knack to see in individuals what they at the time cannot see in themselves. So I have a natural ability to look within you and see and pull things out of you that you might not even knew that was there. You have been conditioned to not believe that it was worth anything, where in reality, it's worth a lot because it's you, it's who you are. So I then look at you, pour out those gifts or those wants, those desires. And then once you get it out there, you're unstoppable because you only the best version of you. Nobody
Yeah,
can be better than you.
absolutely. There's only, there's we're all given unique gifts to share with the world, right?
Yes. You're the
Uh,
best version of yourself.
there's a sign in my office that says we're all given a compass in life, and it's incumbent upon all of us to point it in the direction that we want to go, right?
Right, exactly. And a lot of us, because our social circle don't have that positive influence or that positive voice to speak and pour into you to say, you got this. You just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. You sparked me to ask you this one follow-up question, and as we're emerging from COVID-19, and I know it's still around, but as we're trickling back to regular society, I'm curious to ask you the importance of authentic human connection and really building that social capital because, I've done so many Zoom meetings, I run to the door every time I can get outside and actually talk to people, not through a computer screen, right? So
Right.
tell me about the importance of authentic human connection because it's very important, isn't it?
Yes, to me, I think we are brought here on this earth to be together. If you get that feeling, and I don't think any individual will say that they can be by themselves 100% of the time. If you can, then good for you, or maybe bad for you. I don't know. But each of us has a connection, and we physically have to be in the presence of another physical being in order to nurture or to stir up that sense of happiness, that sense of peace. Like you said, we can only do so much virtual before you have that desire to get out there and be around people, to make those connections. Even the most introverted person still will have to leave their house because they need that energy from another human being, and it's not virtual.
Well, it improves the overall quality of life when you talk to people,
Yes.
doesn't it?
It's something that happens when two individuals get together and that energy is in the room. It's just that just cannot be done on a virtual call. Cannot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And, Sharon, I would be remiss if I didn't follow up by asking you and having a little bit of fun. They always tell me it's bigger and better in Texas. So tell me, how do you know you're authentically in Texas? And what does it mean to be a true Texan?
Well, in Texas, they say everything's bigger in Texas. That's true. To certain, yeah, I'm just gonna say it. Everything from the serving sizes of the food to the houses, we do everything big in Texas. And with Momma Rhodes even comes the heart. So when I love big. I give it my all. It comes just as big as I sang. Everything's big in Texas.
Well, it's a unique state, isn't it?
Yes, we're very unique, and we're not on horses out here like some people think. We
Well,
drive cars, and our roads are paved.
yeah, and your traffic is still like everybody else's, right?
Yes, especially Houston. That's where I am in Houston, Texas. Yes,
Well, it's the fourth largest city in America, so
yes, it is.
you've got a large group of people to pick from, and there's strength and diversity, isn't there?
Yes, because everything's represented in Houston. We're kind of similar to New York. Every community, you can definitely find your tribe in Houston, Texas. It's here.
Well, yeah, the Final Four's coming this weekend,
Yes, that's what I heard.
so it must be busy in downtown Houston, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's
And
probably going to be a lot of partying here. Yes.
a lot of food, so
Oh, we always have food.
absolutely. Get out and mingle this weekend, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Shannon, as we wrap up our conversation, I'm curious to ask you about what an inclusive future in America looks like. Because, one of the reasons I wanted to start this podcast is because I looked at the world and I said, there has to be more that brings us together than tears us apart. So, what do you think an inclusive future looks like for all people and all Americans alike?
Hmm. Um, I'm gonna give a scenario of something that happened here in Houston. Like we had that hurricane,
Mm-hmm.
my very first hurricane.
Hurricane
And
Harvey, right?
well, it was one before her. It was Hurricane Ike. Harvey,
Ike.
yes, but my first experience was Hurricane Ike came through.
Yeah.
After that hurricane came through, the sense of community was so strong. You had people of all colors, of male, female, gay, not gay, heterosexual, all of us. It did not matter. Come together. And what they brought to the table was their own individual, what they could contribute. Kind of like I would say we had no power. It was hot. So each of the guys went and got ice. And then we had an ice chest and we borrowed. We had another neighbor that had a generator that will alternate. You can go charge your phone and we alternate their house for a generator. We had another person over there with a gas grill. So as our deep freezers, because everybody have a deep freezer in Texas, everybody, you have 2 refrigerators.
Of course, you get a lot of meat in
Yeah, we
Texas,
got a lot of
right?
meat. So we would bring our food out and we would grill it, and it was for the whole neighbor. Even if you didn't have any food, you were not judged. You just came out and we enjoyed. So with that, that's how I see how we could be an inclusive community. Is it did not matter. It's what you brought to the table, and what you brought to the table was good enough because we was in survival mode. So I look at that as, in order for this nation to survive, that's how we're going to have to act. We're going to have to embrace all kinds, or every individual, because that individual brings something to the table, whether you can see it or not.
Come as you are, right?
Yes, come as you are.
It's the first lesson they teach you in church, right?
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. And, Shannon, my final question for you has to do with your own individual and personal and professional legacy and how you want that to be defined.
I wanted to define as the Momma Rhodes, the mentor. Every life that I change, or every person that I touch, I try to leave something positive behind, a memory of positivity, because I hope that they're paying that forward. I hope that I ignited the love and the gift that they can take and pay it forward. So then eventually, maybe we just stamp out hate. Maybe we'll just stamp out all the negativity if we just keep planting positive seeds in the world.
Yeah, well, we need more people like you to deliver those messages, right?
Oh, yes, and that's my plan. I'm going to keep pushing forward.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, you gotta leave your own imprints of difference in the sand, right?
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Um,
Tell me, Shannon, finally, if people want to get connected with you, what's the best way they can do that?
well, you can go to my website at convowithmommarhodes.com. And I'm also on Facebook and Instagram under Convo with Momma Rhodes as
Well,
well.
well, fabulous. I told you at the beginning of this, I thought this would be an energetic and fun conversation, and it lived
Yes.
up to the hype. So I want to thank you for bringing the energy, enthusiasm, and all the great nuggets of wisdom. Your work in the space of personal development and time on my behalf. It's most appreciated, and I want to wish you a good Texas weekend, and thank you for joining me this afternoon. It's most appreciated.
All right, thank you. And you have a good weekend and tell your mom I said happy birthday and go love on your mom. She's special.
Well, you only get one, so you gotta treat the.
Yes, go give her all her love.
Absolutely, she's the best. Absolutely. Well,
Yes, good.